And I would like to make a motion that we approve the proposed agenda.
I'll make that motion. Or did you make it already?
I mean,
Then I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I've seen the minutes and they look good to me. Does anyone need time for that?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the July 26th meeting.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unfinished business. Would you like to talk about the marketing plan?
So, I've discussed with, internal department heads about, seeking partial funding from, our internal operating budget, also potentially from the,
Visitors Bureau.
what?
Visitors Bureau is up there.
Well, we also talked, I think Bill talked with the new director at the Visitors Bureau. There seemed to be some interest there. So we're still trying to put together the funding for it. However, I did have communication with MS Creative, and Mark suggested, because I don't think we're gonna get the funding in time to capitalize on the busy time of the marina. So, with the money that we've already got budgeted, he said that he could at least get the drone footage taken now. And then we could take stills from that footage. We also can create video clips, but that gives us that base information as we are able to accumulate the funding throughout the rest of the calendar year, and then plan for it as we move forward. And I know that MS Creative has also been coordinating with Katie, the marina manager, on when we've got, obviously you can look at the forecast for beautiful days, but looking at how many boats are in the facility and what's up and coming with reservations, to try to anticipate, when we're full. So we're kicking that off kind of at a walking pace, but we kicked it off.
Is Hops and Props a good time for drone footage?
It could be. I don't know. I haven't seen their special event requests, so I'm not sure if they've got the Century boats this year.
Okay. We do have it.
Yeah, it did come in, but
Okay.
it's been approved.
It's a consideration, I think.
Yep.
It's not exactly the look of a full marina, but it'd be activity.
Activity, sure.
Well, I think that's a good plan to go ahead and at least proceed with photographic,
Mm-hmm.
what we'll need if we're going to proceed. Any comments on that? Or?
No, that's what we talked about pretty much. It sounds like a good way to go.
Okay, great. The Muddy Patio.
So I don't have a start date on that. It is in our queue, if you will. We've got all the materials purchased. Honestly, during the month of July, most of what we were doing was responding to specific requests. And now we've got our to-do list of projects. And so we're working through that list, and but we'll begin and complete that yet this fall, so.
You anticipate completing it this fall?
Yeah.
Good. And you think you can procure furniture, okay?
What's that?
You think you can procure furniture within existing budgets and such? Don't need a lot, but
We'll see what we can do. I won't have a lot left over, but.
okay.
And as we went through at the last meeting, that budget is paper thin. I mean, it's tight. There's no slop in there whatsoever.
I think there's other ways we could probably handle that. If we came up with some, you know,
Trash
garage
haul.
sale stuff. Yeah.
Trash haul.
Whatever, yes. I mean, there's an existing table at least, and some chairs
Yeah.
to start. An update on the dredging, it seems to be proceeding.
Yeah, I don't have any direct updates from the Corps of Engineer. Obviously, they're still working. Haven't had any reported issues. There was I think it was last Friday, there was a concerned citizen that thought they saw an overturned kayak with people hanging on it at the end of Fifth Avenue. It turned out to be one of the pieces of the dredge equipment. one
Oh,
of the-
really? That's what it was, the
It
pipe?
was a pipe float that's out there. But there was a great response by
Yeah, that's what we read.
police, fire. The Coast Guard happened to be doing training exercises, so the helicopter was already in the area. But they determined quickly that there was nobody in danger.
It was impressive to witness from First Street, the EMS wagon coming down the road screaming, and seeing the boat head out from the Coast Guard. Pretty soon the sheriff is balls to the wall all the way down the channel. And, yeah, and I wondered how the Coast Guard helicopter was overhead so quickly, but that makes sense.
Yeah, they were actually at the harbor about an hour before that, so I think they were back en route to Travers and brought back but
Well, it was a good unplanned drill. You know, some people have mentioned to me how much money was spent, but there's a lot of practice and drilling that goes on anyways. It was reassuring to witness. How did they are putting the beach nourishment south. I thought the plan was north. That's them.
That's what my neighbors said too. It's
That wasn't
going south. I thought, what's going on?
wasn't explained to me. They did confirm to me that they got permitted to go to the north, but I'm not sure why it didn't get placed there. So I made the request. I don't have any real control over that.
I'm curious if you get an answer, but I'm sure we have little or no control.
Yeah,
over it.
I'll have more communication when the South Breakwater construction starts. Based on the pre-construction meeting that we had, they should start mobilizing equipment, I would expect next week or early the following, so.
Reports from the Harbormaster on Marina operations.
Things seem to be going well. I think we're having a pretty good season, according to Katie. The staff is doing well. As was mentioned in the elevator ride up, the bumpers were installed by the contractor, and I think they had some extras that we plan to install. And so that project's 100% completed, and we've made final payment on that. There's some volunteers that are working on the grounds at the marina right now. Kelly Greavy from Manistee Proud is working with the seeds students, and so they've got quite a bit of work going on down there this week.
We were down there this morning. Eco Cores, something.
What's that?
They had shirts on Eco Core.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the seeds, how they're
Yeah,
financed, but they were here last year.
Yeah.
They had a bigger group last year, but they got a lot of work done. So they're working on power washing some of the sidewalks. They're hand cleaning some of the benches, tables, the wood swing, and the light poles that are the original wood ones. And they plan on doing some staining and painting later on in the week, so.
It seemed, Tom, you edged down there, that's what Kelly was saying? So,
Yesterday,
Yeah, looks good. Thank you.
You know, there's some, my machine, I've been having trouble with it. My edger, it wasn't a surprise it died when I took up to go above. But up above, there's some old flashing along the sidewalk, which would make it difficult to edge without harming that. I don't know if that flashing's doing any good any longer, what.
Doubt it.
I didn't get into it, I didn't want to mess with that, or, you might want to look at that at some point.
All right.
It's performing any function now.
And we have an edger, we actually bought it to start, we edged those sidewalks down at the Marina 3-4 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And we've allowed the volunteer groups to use it, so if you
You
have
mentioned
any,
art this morning, I don't know when I'll get back out, but I
Okay.
wouldn't mind.
we appreciate your help.
Sure. Yeah, they're doing a great job down there. I'm sure it'll have some impact and time for the photos.
Every little bit helps.
I talked to Kelly yesterday, I think that she wanted to see us trim the trees a little higher up, that way people could see the river. So Jeff and I will talk about that, about timing and if that's possible. And then the other item was kind of painting the doors. I think she wanted to see the bathroom doors and the building painted, so I get a chance to talk to Jeff about that. But
We've had that on our to-do list for a while, and we've talked to her about it this year. We actually have to remove the trim from around the doors, pull the doors, and during the peak season, I didn't want to leave those wide open for time, so we'll either work with volunteers to do that, or we'll get that done this fall though.
great.
Along those lines, she also mentioned to me the door to the ladies' bathroom from the street side
Works
was
hard.
difficult.
Yes, there's something bent in it.
And you could deal with, you know.
I know that Larry's worked on it for years and years and years. It may require a door replacement.
City manager, you want to tell us about
Thanks, Tom.
boat launch?
So typically Kaylee from the office downstairs, she does the report for us. She's been out. So I don't have one this time, but we'll have it for you next meeting.
And I can actually email those too once she'll have them done by probably late this week. So I can email those out because our next meeting's not till October. So.
I don't know what we can do to impact that anyway. It is what it is, but it's good to monitor.
And we did get a complaint about the season. You know, we have that machine with daily pass, seasonal pass, just about having something on the machine stating how it works about the seasonal pass. You get the receipt, you have to take it to either City Hall or to the Marina to actually get the physical pass. So talking with Kaylee, she's gonna put something on there just to let people know. I think, yeah.
You could even do that.
Yeah, there was a note or something last year, or a sticker or something, maybe it just came off.
Okay, there wasn't it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Do you know who put the sticker on last year? Jeff, are you aware of that?
It was on there for a long time.
Okay,
it was simple, yeah, I just said,
okay, good to know.
but the whatchamacallit, right now.
Missing. So we're entering the peak usage of all of our boat launches right now.
That's for sure.
And so we've got, we have 2 skid piers that are damaged at First Street. I just learned that a section of one is submerged off that ramp. It was the first that I had heard, so we're gonna work to get that out. And then we've got another one that was rolled over on its side during a storm, and we're gonna start repairs on that this week in order to get it in. And then this is just a little more just background information for you, but the city has contracted for a long time to remove our fish waste from that fish cleaning station. When that station was designed, it was designed to have a freezer so that we could dispose of the fish waste in a solid form, which allows it to be landfilled and transported legally. The right at, or actually before we started construction, a company called Huron Tackle offered to take that fish for a fee and then do some cleanup around the station. And if you remember, they had a gentleman, first name was Mark, that used to clean fish and did that for a small fee. But Huron Tackle was based out of Bear Lake, and they were collecting fish waste from Pentwater to Frankfurt and then eventually up into Traverse City, and then they were selling that to a cat food business. So they had to take all that, process it in Bear Lake, and then ship it. The company they were selling it to, we learned last week, is now obtaining all their raw product, if you will, from Canada. So the operation has changed, and now they are collecting all that fish waste and selling it to a company that makes liquid fertilizer. Bill, do you remember where he said that was located? Was it in Wisconsin or something?
I thought it was up in, I thought it was up northern Michigan.
I wasn't clear where the location, but
By Canada, I thought, but.
so their process has changed, and instead of being able to bring it to Bear Lake, they need to keep it in a refrigerated, they put it in the company's totes, and then they keep it refrigerated and then truck full semi-loads to the plant. So they've been looking for several years on a location, and they wanted to put it down at First Street in the parking lot, and I refused.
Storage?
The semis of fish guts. So he found a really nice spot and set up shop and forgot to call us and tell us. But he's over on city property in the industrial park, near one of the oil wells. It's where the Public Works has our cold storage. And so I went and looked at the operation, and Bill and I met with them last week, and they, it's probably a 90-day operation. All they're really using is some land. They promised to keep everything inside the cooled trailer, so there's not much smell. It's hidden the way we built the cold storage, but they agreed to reduce their fee for hauling the fish from First Street by $1,000 a year, so that'll help that boat launch fund.
With the cost of fertilizer, maybe it's made this all possible, I suppose.
Well, he said this plant was gonna put another line in, so they actually have more demand. It's organic, obviously, and so it's very popular, and their product is selling well, I guess. So he actually, the guy that we work with, is actually doing a similar operation in New York and trucking it all the way across the country. The value of fish guts.
Yeah. Shows nothing goes to waste. Not much.
And we threw the alewives away.
We did. I almost asked him if we could
Scoop them
scoop them and if they wanted that, but usually when they're up on the shoreline, they're already starting to dry out.
in. Yeah.
They're not fresh anymore.
They went away pretty quick.
They did, fortunately. Looking at new business, I'm afraid I'm probably responsible for that report to council. And I'm currently on vacation that week. I wouldn't be surprised if that vacation is canceled because of weather.
Do you want to do it tonight?
No, I
Tonight?
do not. Unless you've prepared it for me. No. So is that difficult to change?
Yes and no. I mean, November 1st meeting, there's really nowhere to put it for this year. You know, we can't push it out because then we'd only have a couple meetings left
Okay.
that are full, so, unless you did it sooner.
We would have to do it sooner, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Well, let me look at the schedule and I will talk to you about it, so.
great, thank you. As I said, it's a river cruise in Europe and the rivers are drying up, so it may cancel,
Oh.
but yes,
Okay.
yeah. As always, we had bad weather for the Catamaran races.
They just don't have any luck, do they?
Did they have a good time this year again?
I didn't speak with them. I did see all their boats were out and on the shoreline. And,
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. This would be third or fourth year in a row that it's been less than desirable.
Too windy, this year rain.
Yeah, it rained 2 weekends in a row, that's amazing.
Changes, updates to the Great Lakes Cruising Club's Manistee Harbor.
So, my communications with this group are kind of on hold at the moment until we've reviewed their existing information. And then I told them we would get back to them with any changes or updates. You know, one of the things that comes back to my mind was the fact they refer to the existence of the grocery store, which is not there any longer. Question would be whether we want to revise that, have them revise that. And then the other question would be to note the availability of the cab service as well as dial-a-ride, which are not presented here. And I think after all of you have reviewed this, you'll probably come up with some other things so that we can communicate back to them and tell them what we would like to see.
Is it prejudicial to only mention the North Channel Brewery and TJ's Pub? Should we include
Well, that's
the
another
restaurants?
question, right? Regarding how we, I guess that's to them more or less, how they want to handle it.
I think we should take this and if we've got time, mark it up individually and come back and compile them then. And
Yeah, it's got a lot of good information, and they always tend to steer people to the city marina. The airport and the rental cars there too might be a good mention.
Yep,
Not at this regular service, yeah.
in the proximity of the other shopping that's available, dollar ride or the cab or the bike, that you have, like your bike on your boat. They could get the Myers or Family Fair.
I haven't kept up with it. Is the car rental at the airport or
Yeah.
Port City now? Who's operating it?
I think it was Port City.
The dealership
Yeah, he was gonna have regular car
decided
service.
through COVID to venture out.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I would say because the season basically, if people planning their trips, thinking about next year now, so we have time to.
yeah. Okay,
when,
great.
when do we have to get this into the publication to be able to?
I don't know that, but I can find that.
Okay.
Great.
Also, I don't know if you guys had any interest in looking at any of this stuff or not. The vacation guide, this is what they do now, the smaller version of what used to be, and this is the only reference to Marina.
The lakeside one too.
This Lakeland Boating magazine, my wife wrote the article about Manistee, Michigan some years ago. I don't know how many people had a chance to see that, but if you'd like to look at it, I think this is her last copy of the story. But you're welcome to look at that if you'd like. This is the previous vacation guide. and we're basically the same thing. So anyway, how about those, anybody wants to look at them, they're welcome to them. And I will get back to find the cutoff date for the publication on the guide.
Should we have copies of those articles distributed to the group? Would you be willing to do that?
What articles?
Just, he's got them marked in those
Voting
three
rights?
guides where,
They're all-
Sure. I can scan them and email them, yep.
I think that'd be useful. Especially as we start thinking about marketing and advertising in the
Exactly right.
future.
Oh, there's one other thing.
Yeah, just so.
This was the
Steve's in there too.
flyer that we had, I don't know how many, 300 or 400 of these printed when the Marina reopened. And this is the flyer that was sent around the perimeter of Lake Michigan to yacht clubs, marinas, and
I think that stuff would be useful to review with the CVB.
okay, I'll leave it all.
What's her name?
Sammy Lukachevitz.
Yeah, very dynamic woman.
Mhm.
But I think we could make a good pitch that even though most boaters stay on their vessels, there's a lot of fishermen that come to town, and all of these
Right.
attract those, and that puts heads in beds.
Just driving by the parking lot on the weekend, you can see what it would mean
Sure.
for the local economy.
Well, and that's what the CVB is about, right? So I think my idea was, if they shared, if they contributed towards the marketing stuff that we wanted to do to gather all the data, that we could share the imagery with them and then maybe partner with them in the future on some advertisements and stuff.
You know if the small marina brochure is still stocked at the County Visitors Bureau? Check out.
So our next meeting is October 18th. Do we want to then wait and have everybody mark those up and bring them back then? So we can make those changes? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unless Ty finds out that the deadline's gotta be before that.
Okay.
We can, and maybe it's something that, well, yeah, okay.
If for some reason we find out the deadline's before the next meeting, maybe we can have everybody email their markups and we can just compile them internally and something like that.
Yeah. In fact, can we do that? Have everybody go ahead and do that and get that information to Jeff, and then we'll have questions probably, and then at the next meeting, we'll have had all that stuff and it looked over and we'll be ready to go.
Filed.
I can work with Katie on
We can also send them to me and then I can give them to you if that's your preference.
that.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. Any other new business?
George and I took a walk during the MAC race and happened to come across a sailboat that had to retire.
There were quite a few here that came from the
And
Macros.
so we were like, so what brought you to Manistee? Have you been here before? And I said, nope, never been here before. First time. Just thought we'd try to give it a shot. They really liked the marina. The only thing that they were a little perturbed about is they were exhausted and it was very warm that day. And they wanted to just get a nice cold beer and have air conditioning.
And there's
Of
no
course,
place to go.
they, the North Channel is closed on Wednesdays, and then they walk to TJ's, and that has no air conditioning. And they just were surprised that there wasn't more. Now, they said, we get it, COVID, everybody has their signs up, no help, closed due to, help. But they said that was probably, if they had anything to say about it, that was one thing that they were like, man. So it was
More
kind of
bars is
interesting.
what they said.
What?
You need more bars.
Yeah, more bars.
I've never heard that in Manistee, ever.
Somebody told me around the turn of the century, they had more churches, bars, and millionaires than anywhere else in the country per capita.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was good that they, you know,
Yeah,
had a
it's all
good
positive.
experience here and that everything was walking distance and they, you know, they had the use of the marina, the bathrooms and all of that stuff. And I mean, they looked horrible. The couple looked.
They were up for 3 days.
They couldn't even,
fighting.
yeah, they were talking with their eyes closed because
Wow.
they'd been, it was horrible, they said. It was so bad.
Yeah, and I heard Fricano's hasn't received their liquor license yet.
No, not yet.
And I don't know what they said, how long, no, they were leaving the very next day. So
Yeah.
they said, too, we couldn't really comment because they were leaving too. They weren't gonna stick around.
They did 2 nights, I think.
Well, we were gonna say, so, you know,
Yeah.
did you stop here because of the gas or, you know, gas up? You know, but they were not in the mood to really talk. They were pretty burnt out. But that was kind of interesting.
Along those lines, I've had very good reports about the cleanliness of the bathrooms at the marina.
Yeah,
Apparently, she's,
That's a hard compliment to receive,
yeah.
so I'm glad to hear it.
yeah.
Well, I think our cliche catchphrase should be, what about us? The Victorian port of Manistee Marina. What about us? I mean, I just got a thing off of my phone before we came, and it lists the, what was it? It listed the
40 top lake cities.
cities. And Manistee wasn't one of them.
In Michigan.
Yeah,
In
think of
Michigan.
that.
All these other, like some of these other rinky dink, like, how did they
Holland,
make
which is
this?
not even on the lake.
Yeah. So I'm like, we need to get on this list.
Yeah. How do we do that?
I thought of,
You have to find an air-conditioned place to buy the editor of beer.
that's
That's
it.
probably it, yeah. There's something involved there.
Which we should have some, a few coming.
Well, that would be good research though, is seriously, where was it published it?
Yeah, you know what, I'll look into that, just out of
How to find out
curiosity.
what their criteria is.
Right,
and-
and what, yeah, was it just because these towns submitted this to them and that's why they published? Or was there an actual person that went up of
that
these?
visited them.
Yeah.
Tourship.
Victorian port, how can anybody pass this up?
Well, I mean, 40 cities, yeah, you would think that'd be,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just
Are you
want-
talking about the cruise ship, making the cruise ship stop here? No?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about or no?
She got it on her phone, some kind of
No,
update or.
it was, I sent it to you, I don't know, I turned my
I didn't read
phone.
It's on my daily Google feed. I read it
Did you read that? Yeah,
on the source.
yeah, I don't
We'll have to
either.
do some research.
But yeah, that was kind of interesting. I thought for sure we were in that.
Maybe we should write our own.
Could we?
Manistee's number one, Wellington, 46.
Who's gonna dispute it?
Yeah.
When,
Leland's overrated.
I don't know if Kelly will print out this part of it, but I'm gonna point out that in order to get this thing going with Lakeland boating, Marina had to sell ads.
Oh,
Okay, so that ad material here probably doesn't need to be printed, but anyway, just so you know that that was a part of the deal.
oh, to get it public. Man,
Yeah,
everybody's gotta have a little.
That's the game.
right.
Yeah, so they had to get a bunch of local businesses to run ads and
Right.
then Marina put an ad in and, oh, now we have enough space for your article.
Yeah,
All right.
Wow.
let's see.
This was like whenever the Marina, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. 2012. 10 years ago.
Okay, looks like we have no public comment. Comments by harbor commissioners. Unless there's any objection, I would move that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
I'm in favor.
Meeting's over, but I had a question. I noticed that they're divvying up all this money that the federal government put out for the COVID relief funds. There's no way the Marina could have gotten in on that since it affected our business.
Can you explain how the county set that up?
They did some, yeah, their ARPA funds, they had different people apply, but I don't have the final allocation in front of me, but
They voted on that. Was it this week or last?
I believe so, yeah, I was in the paper. So we did apply for that EDA money, which, I don't know if Jeff gave you an update, but we submitted our letter of no effect from the State Historic Preservation Office. And so they have to finish the legal review and the environmental review, but, so we should know, I guess the drop dead date is September 30th, so we should know between now and then if we got it, so that'll be.
What that includes is the DDA wanted to build a barrier-free walkway from the college property. So basically at the end of Oak Street, it would have a barrier-free pathway beginning at Oak Street north of River and then get down to the Riverwalk so that you could use the parking below the college that is allowed for public parking as another access. And then we asked them to hold off on construction of that and to take that, allow us to use that money to apply for a federal grant that we could use that as matching money. So the total project would be about $1 million. It would upgrade the wood decking that's on the Riverwalk.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much between the city marina and 31 with composite, and then do some other
Landscaping,
accessibility and landscaping.
lighting, so a lot of those things some of those things we're fixing up, like the lights would be replaced and the, new decking, so we wouldn't have to have the issue with the power washing, the old treated lumber. So,
Where exactly would the barrier-free, the ramp go?
So it would, the street between the college parking lot and the Elks.
Right.
The street goes down. So it would start at the intersection and would have a pathway that goes on the west side of their parking ramp and then would go between their parking lot and the Riverwalk and kind of cut through that along the bank.
So it wouldn't actually change the street.
Yeah, that won't be impacted.
There's a bit of a sidewalk where you, on the west side there, that basically would be part of it.
Be part of it.
Knowing that area well, I can envision it. Good idea.
Yeah, and where that current sidewalk follows the wall on the college side, kind of where it starts, hits the area where the parking is, that's proposed to have a memorial monument placed in there in honor of Mr. Lasky, wasn't it? I don't remember the first name.
Maybe Leslie?
Leslie, that's what,
Yeah.
yeah. I think the family had donated some funds towards a memorial piece of artwork there. So it would kind of all be tied in. But we thought, well, if you've got the money and you're gonna spend it on a project, really Bill grabbed the bull by the horns and said, hold the money, let us try to leverage it to get some grants. And so the federal process is a son of a gun. And we worked hard to get through all that.
but for $850,000, I think
Yeah.
it's worth the work, but yeah, we just gotta wait till they give us the green light.
So we're at like the 10th finish line And you gotta get past the ninth one, and then, I mean, that's what it feels like, you're just kinda crossing hurdles, and,
Yep.
but we're deep enough into it where it's not like we're not selected, it's just, we gotta get the approval.
Okay.
Where all is, trying to envision where along the river walk. People in wheelchairs can access.